I've been really watching great films this year, old ones or new, and I thought I would talk about some of the films that I've seen and give them 5 stars in 2024 so far. The first movie I rated 5 stars of the year at the beginning of January was Paris, Texas, and I still can't get it out of my mind ever since, and I made a whole video about it. So if you want a detailed review and kind of like a love letter for the movie, watch that. But other than that, I would 1000% recommend this film to anyone. I think it's a movie everyone should watch at least once in their life, and it's one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. The feeling that you get from after watching a Wim Wenders movie, it's unlike anything else. It makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel like I love life and I want to live it. It's just something about it so positive, and I don't really get this feeling much from movies. Then we have Eight and a Half. Eight and a Half is such a thickly dense film and its content. Everything could be interpreted in too many ways, as Fellini intertwines dreams and reality best with presence and its fantastical universe that he creates in this film. A single shot can hold so much information. The primary focus is on Goody's relationship and his perception of the women in his life. The film serves nevertheless as a homage to his wife. It's a masterful film with a masterful screenplay, flawless cinematography, and directing. The camera movement is absolutely phenomenal. Every shot is so precisely planned, yet you never feel distracted by the precision of it all. It's a powerhouse of a film, a silent, subtle masterpiece, if you will. It's a message that's quiet and it kind of feels like it creeps up to you in the dark. Sure, it does get a little confusing to follow sometimes, but it's more of an experience than anything. The series of visions and ideals of reality intertwines and hypnotize the viewer, almost eluding them to question their own reality and space off into the various questions that allude to time and the world. And Eight and a Half makes that clear. It's a film that tackles the anxieties, depressions, and the pressures of life. But it's a film that cradles you and alludes you to the fact that truly everything is gonna be okay, and that's okay to grow and learn from the mistakes you've made. Something I'm growing to love about Fellini is the fact that he takes such a simplistic, such an admirable life lessons and intertwines them with a visual, spiritual circus like no other. Watching High and Low is like watching a 2-hour masterclass in blocking and framing, directing in general, really. The first hour of High and Low takes place virtually in just one room before the film moves from a tough moral drama to a police investigation. At times the film feels claustrophobic, but no one captures a crowd quite like Kurosawa. Really, his perfect staging has people crisscrossing into each other as key moments happen in the deep focused background as well as the foreground. Kurosawa used the full width of the screen, with people often stood at both ends. Despite being a tense game of phone calls, the film goes into unexpectedly dark places involving heroin addiction and overdose, which end up integrated into the plot. High and Low is a gripping piece of cinema, drawing from premise that feels like something Hitchcock would have made and playing with crime and class as abstracts that peer society. Everything about it comes together to provide a satisfying whole as a crime drama, as a look at the world, and as a stunning piece of cinematic clarity. Every time I watch a Kurosawa movie, I feel like that's it, that's the best one. But then I watch another one, I'm like, this is the best one. It keeps happening, but I think High and Low is my favorite. I've seen Aikuro after, and High and Low still has its place for me right now. No one makes a fun crime action movie like Michael Mann. Honestly, I did not expect this to be a 5-star. I know it's gonna be great. I've seen some bits of it and I thought it looked pretty cool, but that was something special. I haven't rooted for a character like that in a long time. Thief was Michael Mann's first big feature film, which is annoying and insanely impressive. The way he was able to make connection between his personal and work life, and I feel like that's something I noticed in this and in Ferrari, because in Ferrari did not work at all, but this one that's it, that's how it's done. The film is dark and disarmingly human, alternating gripping action sequences, neon-lit mood moments, and some surprisingly recurrent characters beats, especially between Ken and Weld. as well as between Ken and his dying father figure, Bryson Buddy, played by Willie Nelson. Mann's signature blend of realism and sleek styling is present and correct, as is a stirring Tangerine Dream soundtrack. Dune Part 2 will be one of those movie-going experiences that I will cherish and remember forever. I talked about the scale of Part 1 and how crazy it is, but this one takes it even further, especially at the end. I had chills for the last 20 minutes. There's a lot of changes from the book, but I don't really mind it at all. I love what he gave to Chani and her character. Every one of the actors did an incredible job, but Timothée Chalamet at the end was something else, and you can see the changes in him. He takes the lead in an astonishing way. I was so excited to see Alia because she's my favorite character, but hopefully the next film. I love watching Austin Butler. He killed every scene he was in without even speaking. Set and costume design is still crazy good. The world building as a whole just blows my mind. It works so well together. I was in awe through the whole movie, really. The stunning cinematography and killer score by the great Hans Zimmer ties everything together in such a beautiful way. And all the praise to the amazing Denis Villeneuve. This is truly his masterpiece, and you can tell all the love and care he has to create this film and actually create it correctly. On a second watch, I feel like my favorite part is Legally Prime. It looks so good. I don't understand. Like it just makes you want to cry, makes you want to make a movie right away. I really want to talk about Zendaya because she deserves to be praised for what she achieved with Chani and dealing with such a complex character in the most beautiful way. But honestly, everyone was so good. If you really look at the extras, they were just doing their job. Everyone seems so just passionate and they're so happy to be there. I was really happy with watching that, and I tried to went to watch it in IMAX as much as I could because I feel like whenever I watch a great old movie, I feel so jealous of the people who experienced it in cinema for the first time. And this one will be like that for generations to come, and I just feel so happy to be alive at the time and to be able to experience it for like when it first came out. This is as wild as it gets. I'm still in shock and not really sure what I witnessed. The only way I could explain it is it's a perfectly orchestrated mess of a film. It just keeps getting sillier by the second, and I loved it so much. The universe of Jacques Tati, it makes you feel so happy and you feel like you're in a safe bubble. You don't want to come out of it. I haven't laughed like that since Airplane, and I feel like it's like Airplane but like scale of it and the art directing, all that, which is it's just a step from Airplane. Jacques Tati is one of these people that I wish I can go to dinner with and just try to figure out his silly but brilliant mind. I got really sad when it ended, and you feel like this way of comfort from the movie, like I said. And honestly, I can't wait to rewatch it because I know it's only getting better from here. Gonna say it's not for everyone, but if you love silly movies like Airplane, but this one of the best looking films out there, the scale and details he puts in this movie makes it just. It makes sense that he really went bankrupt for it. All I have to say is just I need to see this on a 70mm before I die. Fallen Angels had no business to be this funny. Like, I don't understand it. It's too funny to be this cool and too cool to be this funny. Favorite Wong Kar-wai, hands down for me. It's a gentle reminder that life goes on and you will always end up where you are supposed to be. We're all crave people. We're all desire to be accepted by people who were once complete strangers, but life has a funny way of working out. And in the end, we're all just passing through each other's by waiting to see where we'll all end up. Fallen Angels is this cutting edge of quirk, being so ridiculous and yet so inventive in its cinematic language. There are so many songs and in touch with modernity. It's Spain, it's beautifully weird, and the story is dark yet invigorating. It may have its flaws, but few films are as stylistic genius. Then just to cap it off, the film ends with one of the best final shots in all cinema. The amount of emotions that you experience in a small span of time is crazy, too hilarious to be this cool, and my god, the soundtrack is perfect. You know what, I think Melancholia, you can tell it's going to be great, honestly, from like the beginning. It has one of the most captivating opening scenes ever, and don't even get me started on the ending, just some masterful stuff. Everything is breathtaking, from the acting, directing, cinematography, score. This film just made me want to see the Roy family dealing with apocalypse. The film begins with hopelessness and ends with the same sentiment. The narrative offers no escape to both its character and to the imminent mortality of the man. It begins with the end, showing the merciless pit of despair, and concludes everything with none other than extinction. We no longer bargain nor feel depressed, we merely feel strangely calm, perhaps even apathetic, and not because the border of the screen provides sense of remove and shield either, but because Trier glides through these emotions with such ease that we don't even realize it's until it's over. All About Eve is a classical Hollywood at its best. I can't believe it took me this long to experience such a masterpiece. It's a story set in the world of acting, especially the business and lies that secretly run it. The theater world is cynically shown as a place where egos rise and then fall into jealousy and bitterness. It's a competitive life, biting women against each other, the fear aging and being disregarded, relying on youth and beauty as the currency of power. The film's brilliance shines through its sharp dialogue, outstanding performance, and complex characters dynamic. Betty Davis delivers a stunning portrayal of a seasoned actress, Margot Channing. Director Joseph L. Mankiewicz had an instant understanding of how to incarnate women characters on screen. His competence to reward him with the best work from some of the greatest actors of all time. It's so cynical and twisted and snappy and just so well realized. They just do not write movies like this anymore. Dare I say this is so far my top 2024 film, and this comes shocking to me after Doom Bar 2, but this film is addictive, and a huge reason is the intoxicating score. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. You know what? I will let them be like neck for number one. I feel like it's so weird now when you watch a film that feels new and not silly, because sometimes they try to make something that looks new, but it just ends up being looking stupid. And we always talk about how infinite is creativity of the art of cinema. Luca Guadagnino. I feel like he's the only one trying to create something new. I can't tell when I'm watching his films how fresh it is and how unlike anything I've ever seen. Even when he was remaking Suspiria, it still felt new. It felt not taking this and recreating it. It's just it's his. I think he's such a fun person. Like, I would love to meet Luca Guadagnino one day, hopefully. First, let's talk about the performance of the big three. They absolutely nailed it, the chemistry between all of them, but especially for me, I think Mike and Josh is just way too good and fun. The ending really had me on the ground. Wow, I think the last 10 minutes was just something different. Like, the whole movie is so fun, it's so good the way it's just shot, but these last 10 minutes was just, this cherry on the cake. And what a killer soundtrack, which Luca always has great music in his films, and it doesn't come as news, but this one was different and I love the placement of it. I've never seen the sport filmed with such energy and reverence. Is it crazy? Yes, but I love it. And many of Luca's films are about looking. No wonder he can infuse so much tension and meaning into the simple act of the crowd, tracking the back and forth of the tennis ball. Who's watching the players when no one else is? This has become my favorite Hitchcock, and absolutely one of the best to ever do it. The script is straight up brilliant, but combined with the incredible performance of each actor, just take it to another level. Grace Kelly is dreamy, loved her and James Stewart together. The cinema in a nutshell is a voyeuristic lifestyle. Every time those lights go down, every time new characters are introduced, and every time a frame goes by, the collective audience is being drawn deeper into another world. In the best movies, you feel different and you know more about the world as the final shot rolls around. Every open window is a blistering apartment complex that Hitchcock camera resides and leads to another character, another emotion, another scene, and another mystery. The suspense, the humor, the directing, the music, it's a wonderful example of how great the movies can be. And like all great artists, Hitchcock questions our fascination while simultaneously revealing in the contained insanity. Seeing the host on this list might be a bit surprising. If anyone have seen it, I don't think people give it 5 stars very often, and I have been contemplating for a while now what to rate this film. But I think I have to stick to my guts and give it a 5. And not because it's a perfect film and flawless. I think we can all agree on how the VFX are horrible and how the creature itself looks so poorly done that it actually took me of some scenes and I couldn't concentrate on anything else but how bad it looks. But that doesn't take away how I feel about the movie and the brilliance of it. The score got me real good, and I don't remember the last time I cried this much in a film. I mean, the last 30 minutes were thrilling, exciting. Song Kang-ho's performance was heart-wrenching. I have yet to see a bad performance from him. I loved everyone and they all did a great job. I did really enjoy how it gave you some comedic effects when you least expected. On the surface, the host looks a lot like any other monster movie, it showcases an evil beast hell-bent on destruction of the local population. And even here, director Bong Joon-ho refuses the convention of the genre he's working within. He shows us the monster right away from the start, almost from the first scene, and almost always in broad daylight rather than hiding the special effects in dark nighttime shots. I think it's rather than glorifying the monsters like destruction. He pitches the film as a challenging and uncomfortable level of black comedy and tragic farce. This is a world without clear-cut heroes and villains, replaced instead by a more complex morality. What really helps it is the strongly written characters played by the incredible cast that you become quite attached to, making their actions and outcomes more emotionally meaningful. For conclusion, the 5 stars is for how I feel about it and how it made me feel. Le Trou is a nail-biting, nerve-wracking of a masterpiece. It does a great job of keeping you on the edge of your seat with the editing and the stretching of the scenes to capture the anxiety and stress the actual prisoners and make you feel like you were with them. I wouldn't even call it enjoyable because through the whole thing I just wanted it to end and for them to be free, and I think this means much because of how little we know about the characters but still we care for them, and this actually says a lot of how brilliantly it's made. This feels less like a film and more like a fly-on-the-wall documentary as you dropped into a French prison with 5 guests who decided to release themselves on their own recognized. This lack of background being a form of entrapment cement that central message of dehumanization. We focus purely on the process of the escape, not the lioness process, the prison approach, but to show this process how overwhelmed their life escaping has become their prison. These characters are imprisoned in the fact of escaping. What is the purpose of prison here? Well, in Le Trou, it's just that a whole prison is a dehumanizing whole that redefines its residents, only further trapping them and limiting them. Right off the bat, I don't think this is for everyone, and it's a really dark and will make you feel paralyzed after you're done with it. Sharon Lee broke me, like literally. I felt like I was broken after her performance. No one does it like Lynch, and I feel like there's a lot of people that come after him that try to do the way he makes his films, but it just goes by to look weird and silly and unfinished. But he is phenomenal at creating empathy, I'll say. Not 1 second of this film feels good or right even. And when something remotely good is happening, it just feels off and it makes you even more scared. And I don't really know how to explain this movie, and I feel like if I did, I will ruin it for you. But I wouldn't say you would go into it not knowing what it's about, because also there's a lot of triggers in there. So just read the synopsis. Now I have to watch Twin Peaks. I've been wanting to watch it for honestly as long as I can remember, but I haven't got to it yet, and I really want to start again, so I don't want to spoil it. But it's one of David Lynch's best, and I don't think it will ever leave my mind, and it will always hurt. So yeah, these are my 5 stars films of 2024 so far. I really enjoyed them, and I hope you will enjoy them too. And yeah, that's it.